It's the kind of morning you see in postcards. Soft golden light spilling over rolling fields, dew clinging to the grass like it's afraid to let go, and the slow, familiar creak of an old porch swing cutting through birdsong. My name's Elijah Rowe, and this 12 acres of fenced-in stubbornness on the edge of Rephrise County is mine. Been mine since the bank finally stopped playing games and let me buy it straight up 5 years ago. I rebuilt the house with my hands, planted the soil with my sweat, and raised my son, Caleb, with nothing but truth and grit. We mind our business. Always have. But Rephrise, she don't always return the favor. The neighbors wave with tight smiles, the kind that don't reach the eyes. Folks say sir and ma'am, but watch every move like we borrowed the dirt under our feet. And ever since we partnered with the Department of Rephrise to lease part of the creek for federal environmental study, that quiet scrutiny turned into something colder. Whispers, letters, an anonymous complaint here, a drone camera hovering too low there, and always the HOA. Except we ain't part of one. That's the thing. Our land sits just outside the jurisdiction, a fluke of old county lines and older deeds. But these new Rephrise Lakeside HOA folks, they don't respect boundaries. They came in last year with their clipboard crusades, demanding we comply with landscaping codes, mailbox colors, even noise levels. We laughed. First. Then they showed up on our property, trespassed, claimed we were in violation of neighborhood standards. Even though we weren't in their neighborhood. I reported it. Sheriff said they'd be watched. Told me to document everything. I did. Still, they came back. Bolder each time. And Caleb? He kept to himself. Never argued. Always polite. My boy's sharp. Top of his class, knows how to speak soft and smart. But he's also black, tall, and growing into a man in a town that forgets too quickly whose land we walk on. Last night, we grilled out. Just me and him talking scholarships and fishing poles. The smell of hickory and ribs floating through the yard. For a minute, I forgot about the letters, the flags flying too high across the street, and the way Mr. Halvorson slows down when driving past our gate. This morning, I woke up to Caleb already dressed, pressing his project folder flat in his backpack. Maps and survey charts proving our federal lease. He grinned like he was holding gold. "I'm gonna show them," he said. I smiled, but something about it, something gnawed at me. Like storm clouds behind a sunny sky. Something told me today wouldn't be normal. And I was right. The first sign something's off is silence. Caleb usually texts by third period. Just a thumbs up or a meme, sometimes a photo of him and Maya clowning in chemistry. But today, nothing. I brush it off at first. Maybe a pop quiz. Maybe Mrs. Weller finally cracked down on phones. I go back to welding the rear axle of a busted 78 El Camino. But an hour later I get the call. Not from the school. From Maya. "Elijah, is Caleb with you?" My blood turns cold. I drop the torch. She says he never showed. Wasn't on the bus. Didn't walk in. She checked the front office. No sign-in, no absence note. I check his location on the app. Last ping. The trail behind our property. The shortcut through the woods he's taken since 6th grade. Then it stops. Completely. Like someone yanked his phone out of the world. I grab my keys. The sun's high by the time I reach the trailhead. The woods are quiet, too quiet. The kind of quiet that hums in your teeth. Then I see it. Caleb's bike. Tossed into the brush like trash. One handle bent. Rear wheel spinning slow, like it's trying to tell me what happened. My chest tightens. I kneel, fingers grazing the dirt. Boot prints. Big ones. Deep. Not Caleb's. I take photos. My hands are shaking. As I head back, a white SUV rounds the corner up the road. Tinted windows. No plates. Just a cheap metal badge decal slapped on the side. Rephrise Lakeside Enforcement. It slows. I lock eyes with the driver. It's her. Karen Halvorson. Wife of the HOA president. Always in beige slacks and fake pearls. Drives like the street owes her. Last month she screamed at Caleb for trespassing when he walked near their mailbox. He was delivering a neighborhood flyer. She pulls beside me, rolls her window down halfway. Karen, smiling too tight. Everything okay, Mr. Rowe? I say nothing. Her eyes flick to the trees, then back to me. There's a flicker in them, like she knows something. Karen tilting her head. You know, it's not safe letting your boy run around unsupervised, especially around federal property. People get confused, make mistakes. Mistakes, like he don't belong, like he's a problem, like she owns the ground under his feet. My fists clench. I take a step forward. Her window shoots up, and she speeds off like she didn't just threaten me with a smile. I pull out my phone. Call the sheriff. Straight to voicemail. That's when it hits me. This isn't a mistake. It's a message. They didn't like Caleb knowing the law. Didn't like us standing our ground. And now he's gone. Not missing. Taken. And I swear to God, they just started something they won't walk away from. Rephrise County Sheriff's Office like I own the damn place. And for a moment it feels like I should. My boots hit the tile harder than I mean to, rage pulsing through every step. Behind the desk sits Deputy Kellner. Pale, stiff, the kind of man who only speaks in rules. His eyes narrow when he sees me. Kellner flat. Mr. Rowe, you here to file another HOA complaint. I slam my phone on the counter. The photo of Caleb's bike. The boot prints. The last GPS ping. Elijah low and tight. My son's missing. Taken. And I have reason to believe it was by someone impersonating law enforcement. Kellner doesn't even flinch. Doesn't even pretend to be surprised. Kellner, you sure he didn't just skip school? That's when I know. They're in on it. Maybe not all of them. But Kellner's silence? It's the same silence I've seen behind tight HOA smiles and crooked neighborhood meetings. Complicit, comfortable, and carved from privilege. Elijah. Sheriff Briggs. Where is he? Kellner. Unavailable. I grit my teeth. Elijah. Unavailable, or kept away? He doesn't answer. Just shifts in his seat and picks up a clipboard like I'm not even there. I leave. Not because I'm done. Because I need to think. Need to move smarter. Back at the house, I start pulling files. Every complaint I ever logged against the HOA. Every survey of the land. Photos of Rephrise Lakeside enforcement badges. Their SUV. Karen's smug face at the gate. Then I remember something. Caleb's drone. He'd been filming footage for his environmental project all week. Panoramic shots of the creek, the trail, the shortcut through the trees. I rush to his room. Grab the controller, sync to the app. There it is. A video timestamped 9:03 a.m. I press play. The drone's flying low, sweeping over the trail. Then movement. 2 men. Navy blue uniforms, no insignias. They step out from the woods like they've been waiting. Caleb appears. His backpack on. Smiling. Then it turns. They grab him. He jerks away. One of them shoves him into the SUV. I pause it. There. Clear as day. Karen Halvorsen standing near the vehicle watching. Not flinching. Not interfering. Watching like she's orchestrating it. My stomach drops. I hit save. Upload the video to the cloud. Then I send it to the one person in Rephrise who doesn't fold under pressure. Sheriff Briggs. 2 hours later, his truck pulls into my driveway. Will's kicking up dust like smoke. He doesn't wait to be greeted. He walks straight into my garage, closes the door behind him, and locks it. Briggs grim. Where's the footage? I show him. He watches in silence. Jaw tight, eyes locked. The veins in his temple start to twitch. Briggs low. They impersonated officers, detained a minor, and entered your land without cause. Elijah. They knew who he was. Briggs looks at me. Something flickers in his eyes. Regret. Briggs. I deputized Caleb last fall. Remember that event at the station? Gave him the badge myself. I nod. Elijah. They just kidnapped the sheriff's son. We ride together. Briggs calls in 2 trusted deputies, black, both of them. People who've dealt with the HOA nonsense before but never had cause to act. Until now. We roll into Rephrise Lakeside Estates like a tidal wave of truth. HOA headquarters sits in a converted ranch house, fake columns and all. Outside, a sign reads, Private Enforcement Office. Briggs marches in first, hand on his badge, voice sharp. Briggs, this office is under investigation. Where's the boy? Karen appears in the doorway like she's hosting brunch. Karen, smirking. Excuse me, Sheriff. This is private HOA business. Briggs, you think you get to detain minors on private business? She blinks. Caught. Karen, he was trespassing. He didn't identify himself. Briggs, cold. He is identified. He's my honorary deputy. And you're not law. You're a homeowner with delusions of authority. She opens her mouth again, then stops. She sees me behind him. I stare her down. No fear. No more asking nicely. Elijah, where's my son? Right before everything flips? Karen folds her arms. Cool as you please, standing in front of her so-called enforcement office, like she's welcoming the mayor. Behind her, two men in matching blue shirts step out, same ones from the drone footage. They've ditched the fake badges now, but I recognize them. One tall and lanky, the other with a gut hanging over his belt and a jaw that's permanently clenched. My fists curl at the sight of them. Caleb could have been seriously hurt. Worse, Briggs nods to his deputies, who fan out and start taking photos. Signs? Uniforms? The inside of the office where a dusty binder titled Compliance Citations sits next to what looks like handcuffs. Karen scoffs like it's all beneath her. Karen, mocking. You're wasting your time, Sheriff. We were conducting a community safety response. The boy matched the description of someone seen tampering with survey equipment near the creek. Briggs, you're saying my deputy in training was tampering with federally leased land? Equipment he helped install. She shrugs, smug. Karen, well, we had to act. You know how these things go. The HOA has protocols. Elijah, you're not an HOA to us. Our land isn't part of your jurisdiction. Her smile sharpens like a blade. Karen, oh, but we are. Last year, we passed an amendment expanding Rephrise lakeside oversight to adjacent parcels. Unanimous vote. I step forward. Elijah, you mean you and your book club voted to illegally extend your authority onto my property? Karen, fake sweet. Call it proactive zoning. And quite frankly, we're tired of you playing the victim card every time someone asks you to follow the rules. It's not about race, Elijah. It's about standards. There it is. The mask slips. It's always about standards, until a black man owns the nicest acreage in the county and doesn't bow his head when he's told to trim his hedges. Karen steps aside and gestures toward the rear door of the office. Karen, he's in the back. Calm. Unharmed. He'll be released once we sort this misunderstanding out. Of course, you might want to reconsider filing a complaint. Could reflect poorly on your community standing. Translation. Stay quiet, or we'll find other ways to bury you. But I stay calm, because she has no idea what's coming. Briggs glances at me. I nod. He pulls out his tablet and plays the video. Drone footage. Clear. Undeniable. Caleb walking the trail. The two men stepping from the trees. No warning. No questions. Karen standing beside the SUV, arms crossed, watching like she's enjoying the show. Her face drains. She reaches for the tablet, but Briggs pulls it back. Briggs, you detained a minor without cause, on private land, while impersonating law enforcement, and you filmed the whole thing. Karen, voice rising. That footage is unauthorized. It's invasion of privacy. Briggs, not when it's your property being trespassed on, and especially not when that minor is deputized and operating on a federal lease. The tall goon tries to speak. Goon number 1. We were just following protocol. Briggs snaps. You followed nothing. You kidnapped a child. I could haul every one of you in right now. Karen sputters. Her confidence slips into desperation. Karen, wait, let's talk about this. There's no need to escalate. Elijah, cold. You escalated when you threw my son into a van and tried to disappear him. The back door creaks open, and there's Caleb, standing tall, calm. His eyes lock on mine and something shifts inside me. Relief, fury, pride. He walks out like a soldier coming home. One of the deputies lays a hand on Karen's arm. Deputy, ma'am, we need you to come with us. Karen recoils. Karen, me? I was trying to protect the neighborhood. Briggs, you're under arrest for impersonating a law enforcement official, unlawful detainment of a minor, and criminal trespassing. And this whole office? Seized. Effective immediately. Her mouth opens, closes. Her pearl necklace trembles. The HOA goons are cuffed without a word. As Karen is led away, she locks eyes with me, her voice just loud enough for me to hear. Karen, venomous whisper. You don't belong here. I step closer. Elijah, quiet fire. I built here. You just parked your Lexus on it. By morning, the news is everywhere. Local teen illegally detained by fake HOA officers. Sheriff confirms impersonation, trespass, and kidnapping charges. Karen's mugshot is plastered on every screen from here to Jackson. Hair frizzed, eyes wild. Not the perfectly curated PDA president with the cashmere scarf and church flyer smile. No, this is the real Karen Halvorsen. Exposed. And it's only gettin'. I sit across from Briggs in the Rephrise County press room, watching reporters scramble to their seats. He's calm, composed, but there's a hard edge under his words now. One I've never heard in his voice. Briggs to press. There was no legal HOA enforcement action taken on April 10th. The individuals involved fabricated titles, detained a minor under false pretenses, and violated multiple state and federal laws. This is being treated as a coordinated criminal act, not a neighborhood misunderstanding. They eat it up. Cameras flash. Pens scribble. The whispers in the room are fast and sharp. They impersonated cops. They detained the sheriff's kid. They tried to cover it up. Then comes the twist. Briggs leans forward, flipping open a folder. Briggs, in addition to drone footage provided by the victim's father, we have recovered surveillance video from a nearby wildlife cam, installed by the Department of Environmental Management for tracking deer migration. He presses a button. A grainy video plays on the screen behind us. Karen, standing in the woods, her phone raised, recording the fake arrest like she's documenting some valiant neighborhood takedown. You can hear her voice, clear and proud. Karen, on video. Get him in the car. If the sheriff calls, I'll say it was suspicious behavior. Trust me. He's always playing that card. Gasps ripple through the room. Someone curses under their breath. And just like that, the narrative changes. She didn't panic. She planned it. Back in the neighborhood, the fallout is nuclear. Karen's home, once pristine and smug behind white shutters, is swarmed. News vans, protesters, even a few of her former supporters, now trying to scrub their names from any association. I watch from my porch as a moving truck pulls up 2 days later. She's not even allowed back in to pack. Sheriff's order. A court notice is zip-tied to her gate. Asset seizure pending investigation. The HOA board starts unraveling too. Turns out, Karen was funding most of the enforcement budget herself. A private slush fund pulled from illegal fines, backdoor liens, and forged invoices. Folks who once wore those matching polos are now begging for leniency. And then comes the real cherry on top. Miss Tilda, elderly, black, been living in Rephrise since it was all dirt roads, shows up at my door with a dusty folder. Hands shaking but eyes shining. Miss Tilda, I knew that woman was dirty. Thought you'd want to see this. Inside, handwritten HOA meeting minutes from 6 years ago. Back when Karen first pushed the community enforcement program. Pages and pages of complaints from minority homeowners. Filed, denied, silenced. MS Tilda soft. They said we were overreacting. That we just didn't understand how neighborhoods worked. We scanned the docs. The same names. Same patterns. Same weaponization of code violations and fines. And one note in Karen's handwriting. Properties not in compliance should be pushed out before they lower value. It's dated 2 weeks before she tried to evict a Vietnamese family for having a backyard altar. Briggs calls it intent to target. The DA calls it something else. Patterned racial discrimination with intent to defraud and displace. It's no longer just HOA nonsense. It's federal. Karen tries to fight back. Of course she does. Files a countersuit. Claims emotional trauma. Says she's the real victim. That this is some witch hunt against a woman just trying to uphold community integrity. The judge doesn't even blink. Throws it out. Freezes her accounts. She's booked again within the week for contempt of court after trying to move funds into a secret trust. Briggs tells me later she cried in the holding cell, asked to make one phone call, then used it to try to contact a real estate developer to sell the property. Too late. Everything she owned is now evidence. The neighborhood changes after that. People start talking more at the fence line. Less whispering, more waving. Ms. Tilda hosts a block party. First one in a decade. Folks show up with folding chairs and soul food and music loud enough to shake the shutters off Karen's old place. And me? I rebuild the trail Caleb loved. Widen it. Add lights. Put up a new sign that reads, Rephrise Creek Trail, public access welcomed. Caleb helps me plant new trees along the path. Caleb, she really thought no one would care, huh? Elijah, smiling. She thought silence meant approval. But sometimes silence just means the storm's building. Karen's sentencing falls on a Wednesday. Rain taps lightly on the courthouse windows as the judge delivers his ruling. No thunder. No dramatic storm. Just cold, quiet accountability. 5 years for impersonating law enforcement. 3 more for unlawful detainment of a minor. Restitution. Community service. Mandatory anti-bias education. And a lifetime ban from participating in any form of property governance. She doesn't cry. Not this time. Just stares at the wall like it betrayed her. When they cuff her for the last time, there's no audience clapping, no cameras flashing. Just justice. Clean. Cold. Unavoidable. Back in Rephrise, the old HOA sign is gone. The fake community enforcement office has been bulldozed into gravel. In its place, a new bench sits beneath the maple tree, donated by the county, etched with Caleb's name and the words, strength, honor, voice. It becomes a quiet gathering spot. People talk there now, really talk. Black, white, immigrant, old-timers, newcomers. Conversations that never would have happened a month ago stretch late into the evenings. Ms. Tilda starts a neighborhood newsletter. The Vietnamese family Karen tried to evict now hosts monthly garden tours. And the folks who used to nod from their porches? They're walking the trail, saying hello, asking how they can help. Not everyone changes, of course. Some still close their blinds when we walk by. But there's one thing they can't do anymore. Pretend. One evening, I find Caleb sitting on the bench alone. Sunlight spills through the trees, painting the trail gold. He's quiet, thoughtful, grown. Caleb, I used to think being part of something meant keeping your head down. Like, if you don't stir the water, you won't drown. He glances at me, eyes clearer than I've ever seen them. Caleb, but I'm glad you didn't raise me like that. My throat tightens. Elijah, soft. You're part of something bigger now. You didn't drown, son. You made waves. We sit in silence for a moment, letting the wind do the talking. And for the first time in weeks, I feel it. Peace. Not because Karen's gone. Not because the lies unraveled. But because the truth stood tall and didn't flinch. Weeks later, a local news crew airs a segment called When the System Fights Back. They feature Caleb, Sheriff Briggs, Ms. Tilda, even some former HOA members who now admit they ignored the signs. It ends with a shot of our creek. Still running, still free. And then, they pan to a new plaque, mounted beside the trail. In honor of the families who stood up when silence was expected. This land remains free, not by accident, but by courage. Karen will serve her sentence in a low-security facility 3 counties over. No visitors, no letters. The same woman who once controlled gate codes and dictated mailbox heights now scrubs kitchen floors and eats under supervision. Briggs says she still tries to control the cafeteria seating schedule. Old habits die loud. But this place is quieter now. Not silent, just calm. And when I walk that trail with Caleb, the wind doesn't carry fear anymore. Carries laughter. Leaves rustling. The sound of a neighborhood healing itself. And somewhere deep inside me, I know, Rephrise didn't just take her name. It reclaimed its soul. Let me know if you'd like a cinematic voiceover script adaptation next, or want to roll right into your next HOA takedown story.